Welcome to What's in Your Earbuds with not Om Gandhi, Lori, and Joe Harden. How are you today, Joe?
Hello. Good. Yourself?
Hello. Good. Let's do a little. Hey, listen to the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network where you can hear all of our shows. This Friday is a live Food Fight Friday. We also have Joe's personal show, Beyond the Finish Line, and Running Tales. Fireside Chat is live tomorrow. Enduring Minds is also tomorrow morning, and my own show, Caffeinated Coaching. It will be back soon. But today we are here to talk about your longest running songs. What were some of the songs that people suggested, Joe?
Wow. So this started on our last episode of What's in Your Earbuds, and we were just kind of spitballing some different songs. And we had Chad Sullivan, editor of Hard Parade Magazine, on, and he suggested "Bat Out of Hell," and that's kind of what started by Meatloaf. Sorry, and that's what's kind of started this next like challenge. I guess was like, hey, give us your long run songs, and I held up to my end of the bargain and I ran to Bat of Hell. It is, I can't remember exactly how long it is, but it is really, really long. And it's basically four songs in one. And I was doing a progression run. So it treated me pretty well for that progression run. But that song is chaotic. But yeah, thank you so much, Chad, for suggesting that. We had some really good stuff. We had a lot of good stuff come from Threads this week. And
Yes, we
I
had a
apologize.
lot.
Yeah, a lot actually. Yeah, and I apologize ahead of time for anybody that I forgot on this list, but we had some really, really good suggestions coming from. We had Kevin Shea. He suggested some stuff from Bruce Springsteen, "Incident on 57th Street." I've never actually listened to that album, but I guess I'm going to have to. And we had Will Eady suggested some good stuff from the Black Crows, Remedy by the Black Crows, and coming from Jason Bahumandi, we had Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, The Message, and I haven't had a chance to listen to that this go around, but I've certainly heard that
I'm
before.
finding that I don't listen to a lot of long
Yeah, we had
songs.
some good
It
stuff.
doesn't sound like everyone that everybody has mentioned. I'm like, I don't know that song. But Runs to the Left said
Yeah,
Rancid song Olympia, Washington was also.
yeah. I just added that just a couple hours ago. So yeah, thank you. Well, that's Will, right?
Oh, yes, well,
Will Edie's runs to the left. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I can't either. Like when you dedicate like 10 minutes to one song, that is a commitment to me. I don't know how 10, 10 or like 13-minute long songs, but you have to really
I,
really be
I
into that
think
artist,
I
I
have
guess, to
commitment issues because I tell my students when we're going through a PowerPoint or something, I'll get tired of hearing myself talk and I'll be like, hang on, I gotta see like how far we are from the end of this. I'm the type of person who needs to like check the runtime on a movie before you go to the theater. Like I need to know what amount of time I am committing to this thing. And so I guess I don't listen to really long songs. As a matter of fact, I asked our friend Google, like, what would be long songs, and it came up with all of these songs I'd never heard of. And it suggested instead that I listen to 90s songs, which I can sing most of what it suggested for 90s songs. But I did see one that I did know, which is the band Jethro Tull and their song Thick as a Brick. You might as well like it's 43 minutes long. That's not a song.
oh
That's
my
like an
goodness.
entire album.
Yeah, that I couldn't imagine sticking it out for how long did you say it was? 43 minutes? I couldn't
43
imagine.
minutes. It's got like
Oh my
episode 1,
goodness.
episode 2. It feels like Star Wars. Like we're like lightsabering with flutes instead. Do you listen have you ever listened to Jethro Tull?
Oh yeah, I actually do like the song is it West Side Mary? I can't remember the actual name of the song,
Might
but
be
yeah,
Aqua
yeah,
Aqua.
Yeah, it's on the Aqua. Is it Aqua Lung or Aqua? Oh,
Aqualung,
dang.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's been a long time. It's like a weird childhood memory hearing, like even hearing the word Jethro Tull. I'm like, wow, like I feel like I'm back in, like I'm riding in the middle seat and my mom's like Ford LTD or something, and we're like going on a road trip somewhere.
Weren't they
Where that takes me.
mainly a 70s group?
Yeah, yeah.
Guys, a group. So, funny story, how I even know about them is that Austin Powers, the original Austin Powers, I believe it was, the soundtrack has a Jethro Tull song.
Oh,
And
really?
I was dating a boy in high school who really liked the soundtrack to Austin Powers. And so we listened to it a lot in his car. And then he decided to, like, he really liked, I think it might have been Aqualung that was on there. And so then he started getting all the albums, and all we listened to was Jethro Tull for a
Oh,
while.
wow.
He did the same thing with the Doors later on. So I can sing like any Doors song you want, which when you brought up long songs, I thought to myself, Light My Fire, because I think the radio edit of Light My Fire is 7.5 minutes long.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
it's got a bridge that is eternally long. I could probably listen to Light My Fire while I ran. I
Yeah, I
don't
think I could
know.
too.
That's a pretty good song, but nobody suggested that one that I can think of. And that's like your
No.
typical long radio song.
It's funny how much punk songs we got. And I always think of like punk songs as shorter songs, but I am proved wrong on this particular
I feel like we got
song selection.
grunge too. Do you think of
Yeah, we
punk
got.
grunge as the same?
Yeah, I guess like what would no effects would be like punk, but like kind of with grunge, right? I don't know. I guess maybe it's like their
I feel like
own
punk was the
genre.
70s, I feel like, and grunge was the 90s and early
Yeah, yeah.
2000s.
When I think of punk, I think of like the Misfits or like the Sex Pistols or something like that. But
I'm trying to, the Dead Kennedys, that makes me think punk.
oh yeah, yeah, the
Yeah.
Dead Kennedys were so good.
Um, but I think of grunge. Grunge was my era and like my town, my area, and so I think of obviously Nirvana, Soundgarden, Stone Temple Pilots, like, and they've got some long. The Stone Temple Pilots has some long songs. I feel like
Oh yeah, yeah. So
nobody.
yeah, Pacific Northwest is like the birthplace of all that too. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I was a. I'm gonna age myself right now. I was a freshman in high school when Nirvana had just come to town right before Kurt Cobain killed himself. Might have been the last. Was one of the last couple concerts before he killed himself.
Oh wow.
So you can all do the math on my old age. Are you a Pink Floyd fan? Echoes by Pink Floyd is
Oh
23
yeah.
minutes long. That's
I will
another
put that
one.
on the list. I am a Pink Floyd fan. The
And
Wall, like
The Wall.
I love that whole entire album.
And David
The
Bowie has Station to Station. Are you a David Bowie fan?
oh yeah, yeah. I maybe ironically enough, but my favorite David Bowie song is "I'm Afraid of Americans." It's such a good
Mm.
song, but
He has a lot of good songs, but Station to Station was one I didn't know. It's 10 minutes long. I started playing it. Honestly, it sounds just like a bunch of electronic stuff happening for quite a while, like at least a minute. It was like, could have been a shorter song, I feel like. I did not know that Bowie song before today.
oh, speaking of the Doors, like the end. How long is that song? Like 20 minutes,
This
20
is
something
the
minutes.
end, my friend. Told you
That
I could
would
sing
probably be
like
like
any Doors song. What's your
that'd be
favorite
a
Doors song?
terrible long song. Dang. I really like well, the whole Morrison Hotel album is good, but what's the oh dang Alabama song? I think that's my favorite one off of that
Oh,
album.
I don't remember that one off the top of my head. Uh,
And
Moonlight Drive is my favorite.
oh, Moonlight Drive is great. Oh, I'm writing all these down.
If you need a 70s to 90s punk grunge sort of thing, we've got you covered here today.
Yeah, we're gonna be everywhere.
Would
Um,
you call Pink Floyd punk?
I don't know. I guess they were like a
Rock, just rock.
psychedelic rock maybe.
What would you
You know,
call like
I can't believe no Grateful Dead came up. They
That
had
was
like
what I
the
was like.
longest.
I was
Yeah.
about to call them. I was about to call them the Dead Bears. I was like, what was that Dead Bears band? And what do we call them? Rock or psychedelic rock or Aussie rock? I don't know. I did say hairband to Jason the other night, and he started singing Guns N' Roses or something, which
Oh,
I never pictured that ever coming out of his mouth.
I'm trying to put that in my mind. Jason singing Guns N' Roses, but
Yeah, imagine Jason singing. He said, "I'm a kid of the '90s, man," from the back room. They were big '80s, '90s. Axl Rose. Um, there's a teen movie that actually uses cherry pie, but that's not Guns N' Roses. Is that Guns? That's not Guns N' Roses. That's
no,
Shoot My Cherry Pie.
that's not Poison, is it?
Is it? I don't know. I'm a little too young for the
Oh
hairband.
dang, I can't believe I can't remember that.
Warrant.
Warrant.
Jason says it's
Oh,
Warrant. Yeah, that's
ah,
right. And
that
I never
like
thought I'd hear that in a teen movie, but here we are.
those all kind of like all those hair metal bands all kind of like meld into one to me, and it's like I don't know.
Absolutely.
Is it like
Rat
Rat
had
or
like one hit. Remember the group Rat?
yeah?
Like Time or Spin Me Round, or I don't know, but that's a long song. I wonder how long that one runs for. Um, oh, Jason has added Def Leppard.
Yeah, someone said Warrant and YouTube as
Thank
well.
you,
Thank you.
YouTube, for the warrant. We were pulling at our brains there and couldn't think of it.
We host a music podcast and can't remember stuff like that, but thank you.
Listen,
Oh
we
yeah,
can't remember every.
no.
I'm not actually an audiophile. I listen to a lot of music, but oh my God, Jason has gone wild from the back room. Whitesnake, Winger, Bon Jovi, Quiet Riot, Twisted Sister.
I think
Do
we
you want to
unlocked.
host this podcast, sir?
Oh, I can't help. I know all the hair metal songs because I was forced to listen to them. Like whatever 80s hair metal vinyl album I was playing at the time. So I've been exposed to all of them. That maybe I just repressed that from my mind.
That's right. I think you're younger than me, so wow. I'm gonna go take my walker to bed now. Yeah, so long songs. There's apparently a lot of them for if you need long runs. Joe, I think have you told the audience you're trying to get 100 milers worth of music here?
Yeah. So I didn't do. If it's okay, I'll go through the rest of the list too.
Yeah, do it.
We had dang, we had a lot of good suggestions. We had "The Stroke" by Billy Squire, "I Want You to Want Me" by Cheap Trick. You mentioned Will's "Runs to the Left," Rancid, Olympia, Washington, and we also had Craig Lewis came in right before the challenge and put a lot of good songs. He put "Bohemian Rhapsody" by Queen, "Get Your Hands Off My Woman" by The Darkness, "Maggie May" by Rod Stewart. That's a really good song too.
I don't know.
Uh, "Off the Ground" by Sub Focus. Never heard of that, Craig. So yeah, we are trying to get 24 hours of music by Haviline 100, and I will do a quick update. We are at 12 hours and 44 minutes right now.
That's it.
So
We gotta do better.
we got yeah, but that's grown a lot since I put that out there. We were at like 10 hours last episode. So 2 weeks we grew a couple hours.
Jason has already requested
Oh,
his crew play a specific song every single time he takes off for another loop at Javelina. And so I guess that's on you today. That's
yeah,
on
yeah.
you for a bit. His song request, I'm kind of hitting my playlist here because I know so it's Narco, but I couldn't think of. So mine says Blaster Jackson, Timmy Trumpet are the artists. I think he
Oh,
usually says
nice.
he wants Narco played every time he leaves for a loop. And I gotta say, you cannot not get amped up when you hear that song. It is the walkout music for Sugar Diaz on the Mets. And so Mary should be listening to this. and she will know this song. But I didn't realize it was on my playlist when I was on the treadmill the other day running fastish, and it gave me anxiety. I had to turn it off because it was getting me like so amped up. So that will be wow. We have a lot of comments coming in.
Yeah.
Do you want to name off some of the things we've got here?
Yeah, absolutely. So Miller Steven says deep sleep. Wait, hold on. Sleep dope smoker is the request 1 hour long. That's going on the list. Thanks, Miller
Hour.
Steven. And says it's 1 hour, and Jason says it fucking thumps. Okay, man. All right, I like songs that thump. Yeah, that's awesome. So thank you for that suggestion. It'll go on the list.
And then
It'll
we have a 44-minute version of Whole Lot of Love.
like
It'll
by
be
Zeppelin. Okay, I believe that Zeppelin probably Zeppelin's like
a
the goat
long
at
song.
making like yeah 30 plus minute long songs. So thank you. 44 minutes. That will. I can't wait till that randomly pops up on my earbuds at some really wild time.
I
That's my favorite part about this. Like sometimes I'll just put this playlist on shuffle and just get something I wouldn't even expect out of it. So that's been kind of fun. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Now we're at 14 hours.
I
Cool.
was gonna ask because I do that. I just hit shuffle on my playlist and like then I'm like, oh no. And then I have to tell Siri, next, because sometimes you're just like, I'm not in the mood for this song.
Yeah, and like it depends on if I'm running with my vest or not. So if I don't have my vest and my phones and like my compression shorts, I pretty much have to be like committed to the song because it's like I don't want to like stop and like get my phone out of
You're
that
like,
weird pocket.
I gotta dig in this. Almost lost my debit card on the beach yesterday for that reason because I was I try to keep my phone in its own pocket so I can do the whole pull it out and like mess with it. I try not to because it's also very inconvenient. But I was pulling a gel out of my other shorts pocket where my debit card and driver's license are, and I thankfully I heard it fall, so I was like,
Oh
oh
wow.
well, almost lost my debit card. Uh,
I Oh nice. I always have that fear with like my car key fob. Like I just keep checking it, making sure I didn't like drop it when I get my phone out. We
So I
got
have the car key fob. Apparently, I'm supposed to be the adult during runs, and I keep the car key fob in my zipper pocket. But I'm always afraid, what if you sweat so much it like starts to short those keys out or something like the fob? And so I try to put it like facing outwards so the key, like the actual little buttons, aren't toward me. So
oh
hopefully it gets.
yeah.
I don't know if that'll
Yeah.
work. Anyway,
I,
we have actual like more
yeah.
song suggestions here.
Okay, we
Um,
have so Andrew says jump, sail, dive. Is that the actual song name? I've never heard of that.
no, no, no. So Andrew is Jump Sail Dive.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
And I'm trying to keep track of Jason's random thoughts here.
We have
CB's songs, Hey Dougie, the
okay.
Stick song. So those are all things we are going to have to look up, I think. Oh, it's
Thank
called Stick.
stick.
And that's the only word spoken the entire time. Well, at that point, we might as well sing that. This is the song that never ends that you learned at camp
Oh,
when you were like 10.
oh my goodness.
I sing that to people when I want to annoy them, which is often.
It's like my kids when the gummy bear song was popular.
Oh, yeah. The one that's
Yeah,
like, "We are the gummy bears," that song?
but yeah, and it's over and over and over and over again. Oh my goodness, it's like seared into my soul because they would sing it so much.
I think I have a lot of, like, soundtracks seared into my soul. The Josie and the Pussycats movie soundtrack is seared into my soul
Oh, is it?
because of people replaying it. Jethro Tull, The Doors. Um, my brother played a lot of like, this is an interesting one. He usually listens to these shows occasionally, but he would listen to Metallica over and over, but he also liked to listen to NWA, so I've heard a lot of Easy. And
Oh
when you're
wow.
probably like a 10-year-old girl, not so appropriate, but whatever. Or boy. I
I
mean, I don't know that Easy is appropriate for any child, but yeah, so my brother is a dichotomy of music as well, and I came along for that ride, and so I can sing you Metallica or NWA.
I love that. So that's kind of what like my Spotify does some days. it'll be like it may not be Metallica, but it'd be like Lamb of God and like Slipknot to like Mob Deep and like Wu Tang Clan. It's just like I don't know who I'm gonna be in a couple hours. It might be Wu Tang or it might be like Slayer or something. I don't know. So I align with your brother's duality of choices in music.
I don't feel like my running playlists get the duality that my actual like interests have. I tend to go with like pop. We had me on the show and Ohm was on once. I tend to go with pop running playlists, but I do have some like 70s rocky songs. I guess that would be 80s, but I still think of them as 70s that mix up with my, Taylor Swift's last album. So like it's a strange like that's why I have to be able to talk to Siri so I don't have to dig in my pocket for my phone. I have to be able to be like, no, Siri, don't play that. Play something else. Because there was a Rocky song that like starts really slow that I had to turn off the other day. I was like, not in the mood for this. Or when they're giving you anxiety, like Narco.
Oh yeah, like I have to do the same thing. If I have a song that just gets me almost too pumped, I'm just like, all right, time to bring this down a little bit. So try to find something a little bit more mellow.
What
Oh,
song gets you too pumped, Joel?
oh, there is a song. I just mentioned that band, but there's a song called "The 11th Hour" by Lamb of God, and that song gets me way too fired up. Like I cannot, like it's so good I can't run to it because I just go to zone three. Just,
We have another
just
comment from YouTube. Dire Straits Telegraph Road. It's over
nice.
14 minutes. Well,
What's going on?
this podcast alone has given us 3 hours more of music.
This is the most comments we've ever had too. Like we've been getting a lot more suggestions during the live shows lately, but this has got me pretty fired up. Telegraph Road's going on the list. Thanks. Another one from Miller Stephen. I
I
haven't
mean, I
heard of
know
Dire
Ohm is
Straits
prettier
in
than me, but maybe they'll keep coming back to comment anyway now that I'll be around instead of Ohm.
at least these comments are somewhat
Appropriate.
appropriate. There's been a few. There's been a few where me and Ohm were just like we were both like fighting for our life to not bust out laughing, and then as soon as like the live went off, I'm just like, oh my goodness.
My
So
best comments were Adria when I was podcasting with Adria, and she was getting annoyed at them. We have to have her on the show, but she was like,
absolutely.
"You can't call me a broke bitch. What are you talking about? I'm not broke." And I was like, we just had like the best time laughing at these YouTube comments because they were calling us. Then they were like, "When did you guys get in a relationship?" And like just all these I get the most interesting comments usually when I interview another female for caffeinated coaching. It's wild.
But so thank you everybody for chiming in. This has been awesome.
Yes, thank you for the song additions. They're helping our 24 plus hours of music.
24 hours by Javelina. That's what we're hoping for.
I think
That would
it'll
be,
happen.
yeah, yeah. So, okay, something I want to ask you is doesn't pertain to long run songs, but you mentioned uh, soundtracks. I always wonder what everyone's favorite like movie score, movie or soundtrack is. So, what's yours?
Mine probably has to be, oh my gosh, the number of the times I've listened to it or my favorite. It's probably the first Pitch Perfect movie.
Okay,
Is actually, or the second one of the Perfect movie
one of them.
soundtracks is probably very pop because that's the whole premise of the movie. It's girls and stuff and a cappella. And so that one is one. Oh, I had a suggestion earlier today for Mamma Mia songs, the soundtrack of Mamma
Oh,
Mia.
oh wow! All right.
I forgot about that. When I posted the podcast, I got a comment from someone who was like, "We've been listening to the Mamma Mia soundtrack a lot lately," and so
Oh, nice. That's going on too.
I don't have a favorite off of that soundtrack, but other soundtracks I've listened a lot to. Um, what is that movie with Sandra Bullock? Sandra Bullock. I'm not gonna
Oh,
think of it. Miss Congeniality. That
oh,
soundtrack
okay.
has Mustang Sally and
I
Jason
was
said
like,
Speed.
that's what I was thinking. It was like speed, but,
No, so
but
Miss Congeniality has it has Mustang Sally and some Destiny's Child
oh, nice.
songs and some others.
Okay.
Um, the Bring It On soundtrack. Save Your Last Dance is a good one for like
Yeah.
pop and rap. Has Ice Cube has Ice Cube songs on it and stuff. So, how about yours? What's your favorite soundtrack?
I bounce back between. I'm not a Beatles fan necessarily. Let me say it. I'm not a Beatles fan, but I respect what the Beatles do for music, what they did for music, right? I just want to preface this, but I'm not a Beatles fan necessarily. I've been hammered for saying this before to people, but so I'm not a Beatles fan. But the I Am Sam soundtrack is phenomenal. It's not Beatles songs. It's Beatles covers. Sorry, and that's really
Huh.
good. And like the Forrest Gump soundtrack is probably the best soundtrack of all time.
I
Tons
don't
of
even
classic
know what
rock.
I've seen Forrest Gump so many times and I couldn't even tell you a song on that soundtrack.
It's so good. I mean, there's like Credence and like I don't know, like Leonard
Mm.
Skinner and just
Yeah,
like a
because
lot of
it's like
good.
set in the that time period. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I'm so old. I saw
and
Forrest Gump in the theater, listeners. That's how old I
oh,
am.
actually, I think I did too. I was young, maybe, but
No
obviously I was
way.
younger. But and Into the Wild soundtrack is just a bunch of Eddie Vedder songs. That's probably one of my favorite.
Yeah.
Right now, I've been listening to that a lot lately, so that's probably one of my favorite soundtracks today. That'll change in a couple of weeks. It's like, well, the best soundtrack is,
Yeah, of course.
yeah,
For the latest one. I'm surprised there's not a Bond movie with a really good soundtrack that I could think of. Because you would think James Bond would have like
yeah.
really good soundtrack.
I guess they have like more of like a score, right? It's not like
Yeah.
soundtrack, but
I mean, there's people who go to those whole concerts of like the Star Wars score performed by, whatever orchestra live. Um,
yeah.
that's pretty. There's a hardcore following. People who love to hear live orchestras do like scores from different movies. Lord of the Rings is obviously another big one.
Oh
Um,
yeah, Lord of the Rings. I didn't think about that. Like I love the series. I guess never pay attention to the music as much. I guess I will now. But
I've seen it. It's just not my genre of movie choice, so I'm not gonna seek out the soundtrack. Sorry, all of you Lord of the Rings lovers. It's there's a lot of soundtracks out there. That's our next, like, maybe our next request is soundtrack songs.
yeah, I want to revisit that. Yeah, we've posed this question before. And I think it'd be cool to revisit it again because every time we like, I have this conversation here or like with other friends like outside of the podcast. It's like so cool what comes up when you talk about just like a movie score or soundtrack. So yeah, I'm definitely up for that. If
We
you
should
are,
make a
I am. That'd be kind
separate
of cool.
list. We should make a separate list of just scores. Oh, Ohm's
Oh, nice.
Like a Prayer, the
Cool.
choir version. He is bringing that up because it became like there are actual like church choirs singing Like a Prayer around last November. It became a thing, thinking that it was a Christian song. Hello, Madonna, but whatever. And so Ohm and I sang it to Jason at TRE until he was like going to throw stuff at us because we were wired and he wanted to go to bed. So that would be a good one to add to this podcast list, like a prayer.
It's odd. Thank you,
I
Owen.
mean, Madonna is always good for classic,
Oh
songs
yeah,
from the 80s and 90s.
absolutely. Yeah. So I say let's let's yeah, bring that up for the next one. I think that'd be perfect.
Yeah. So next one, everybody jump on threads and tell us your soundtrack songs so we can add those to the long 24-hour playlist we have going. Anything else you want to tell the audience, Joe? Want to
No,
share?
I mean just thank you. I'm really stoked on all the comments and suggestions we had live, and like I said, Threads was awesome, and we had a lot of people chiming in the Threads. If I forgot your song and forgot to shout you out, just DM me. I'll fix it. Yeah, and this will be on our YouTube channel tomorrow, which is awesome. So, all right. So, yeah, thank you. That's all I've really got. I'm just really stoked we had all these great songs, and the list just keeps growing.
Yeah, thanks everybody for adding to our song list. And be sure to check out the Fireside Chat tomorrow. Um, Jason is also a panel member on the Rising Hearts viewing of Callie Vinson's documentary. It is moving as you can imagine, and that's also happening tomorrow evening. Be sure to tune into Joe's show, Beyond the Finish Line, and mine, Caffeinated Coaching, as well as Running Tales. And Enduring Minds is tomorrow morning, our men's mental health podcast. So thanks again for joining us. I hope you will come back and join